You walk into a massive department store or, a high-end restaurant, and the audio is just perfect. The music is everywhere, perfectly balanced, yet there's not a single massive amplifier rack in sight. So, okay, let's unpack this. Where is all that power actually hiding? Today's deep dive is into a spec sheet for the $580 Gain Audio AT-GAIN-60 amplifier. Our mission is to reveal to you the brilliant, invisible engineering powering the audio in the commercial spaces you visit every single day.
It's, it really is an incredible design challenge because commercial audio gear essentially has to pull off a magic trick. It needs enough power to fill a cavernous space, but the physical footprint has to be, well, practically non-existent.
Right, and to pull off that trick, the hardware itself has to be like a chameleon. Looking at the Gain 60, it has this physical mode selector switch.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is how that switch fundamentally changes the output power.
Wait, so you can run it as a standard stereo amp, like two 30-watt channels at 4 or 8 ohms, but then you flip the switch and it outputs a single 60-watt channel at 2470 or 100 volts.
Exactly, you just switch it over.
I'm trying to wrap my head around that. It feels less like choosing an audio setting and more like, taking a sports car and instantly transforming it into a heavy-duty tractor, depending on the road you're driving on.
That is a great analogy. When
Yeah.
you're running standard 8-ohm speakers, that's your sports car. Great for maybe a single pair of high-end speakers in a boardroom.
Right.
But if you try to run 30 ceiling speakers across a massive retail floor on that same system, the electrical resistance of all that copper wire would just, well, it would swallow the audio signal completely.
Ah, so that's where the 70 volts comes in.
Yes, by switching to 70 volts, the amplifier intentionally steps up the voltage, which drastically lowers the current. It's exactly how the national power grid uses high voltage lines.
Oh, wow. To push electricity across the country without losing it all is heat?
Precisely. That higher voltage overcomes the cable resistance, letting you daisy-chain a massive line of speakers off just one tiny box.
Okay, so it has the muscle to push audio across a huge room. But if it's powering a whole department store floor, where are they actually putting the hardware? Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, it really does.
The specs note it's UL 2043 plenum rated, meaning it's certified to be installed directly inside the drop ceilings, but it has absolutely zero cooling fans.
Zero fans, right?
I have to push back here. Stuffing a 60-watt amplifier into a dusty, enclosed ceiling with no fan sounds like a severe fire hazard. Doesn't it run a major risk of overheating?
It really sounds like a recipe for a meltdown, I know. But that UL plenum rating means it meets strict safety standards for low smoke and heat release. And the reason it doesn't roast itself up there comes down to its Class D amplifier architecture.
Class D.
Yeah, older Class A or B amplifiers are horribly inefficient. They lose a massive chunk of their electrical energy as wasted heat. But a Class D amp uses rapidly pulsing transistors.
Like a hyperactive light switch.
Exactly like that, turning fully on and fully off thousands of times a second. Because they spend almost zero time in that intermediate heat-generating state, almost all the electrical energy translates directly into sound.
Instead of heat, so it naturally runs cool enough to rely entirely on passive convection cooling.
That's the trick. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this fanless design is a huge leap toward green, zero-maintenance tech. Moving parts, like fans, are always the first point of failure.
Right, they break all the time.
Exactly. And the Energy Star qualified device even drops to under 1.2 watts of consumption, automatically entering standby after 5 to 25 minutes of silence. It essentially takes care of itself.
Which brings up an obvious logistical nightmare. We've got this compact 3.15-pound device tucked safely away above a ceiling tile.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean for the person actually running the building? You can't be rolling out a ladder every time the lobby music needs tweaking.
You really don't have to. The Gain-60 is an intelligent node on the network. It relies on standard TCP/IP and RS-232 control connectivity.
Oh, so instead of physically turning a dial, you send digital commands?
Yes, bypassing the physical front panel buttons entirely over standard network setups.
Got it. So if the building is running something like the Gain Audio Velocity Control System, the amplifier is just another IP address on their network map.
Exactly. The AV manager can be sitting in a control room, maybe on a totally different floor, and they can manage the volume, muting, and even a 2-band EQ remotely.
Bypassing the hardware entirely.
Yep, the hardware physically disappears, but the control remains totally centralized.
It really is brilliant. To summarize, the Gain-60 relies on hidden adaptability with that mode-switching, energy-efficient cooling so it doesn't cook itself, and smart network control.
It completely removes the friction from managing commercial spaces.
Absolutely. So, the next time you're enjoying perfectly balanced background audio in a public space, look up at those ceiling tiles and wonder for a moment, what other invisible automated systems are secretly running the world right above your head?